Hello everyone, and welcome to another horrific unboxing. It's been a wee while since I've done this. This is something I'd seen, I think it was on a chat forum or something. Somebody mentioned, I was looking for obviously various games and that to try it. So they recommended this. I kind of put it in the back burner, and then beginning of the month there, thought, why not? Let's have a bash. Good, there's plenty of tape anyway. Well protected. So I will be honest, apart from the title and kind of a basic concept behind it, I know nothing about this game. So this could be either really good or a complete dud. We shall see. Yeah. It's well packaged anyway. Here we go. Yoink. That was harder than usual. So we have the Shiver role-playing game Core Rulebook. This is horror-based RPG. So if you've seen our Call of Cthulhu episodes and games, it's an RPG role-playing game, tabletop, basically theater of the mind. Go on adventure. You create characters. You have challenges. There's loads of these. These started out in the 80s. Obviously, Dungeons and Dragons, most well known. Been around since the start. Popular game system, even though they're a bit naughty recently and annoyed their core fan base, which isn't always good. But hey ho, that's the joys of big companies, eh? For some reason, they despise their customers. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but this is by Parable Games, so I'm not familiar with those guys, but just nice. Yeah, so you've got like a Witchfinder General, medieval. You've somebody futuristic and like modern day, so that's not too bad. Nice pack. Always like a haunted house, don't we? Will you survive your story? Experience tantalizing tales of terror, mystery, and suspense as you play out your very own horror movie with your friends. See if you can survive the night in this wickedly fun tabletop role playing game. So, easy and quick to learn rules, which you can pick up and play straight away. That's good because I'm a bit thick. I like things nice and simple. If you have to overcomplicate something, then yeah, you kind of lost me. Everything you need in one book to both play and host the game. So that's interesting because normally you have the game runner person, dungeon master, games master, keeper, director, yada yada yada. Somebody runs a game usually has a separate book than the ones playing, and depending on how expensive the game is, there could be like classes of characters, and each one could have its own book for the players, and that's normally enough. It's a lot of people do both. Some people are just happy to take part in games and then just focus on their particular class of character, whatever the game might be. I'm just being generalistic. A symbolic dice system that avoids numbers, puts story first, and provides a variety of ways for your tales to evolve. That's interesting. As you know, 99.99% of RPGs involve dice. That's kind of the big thing about it, and all the different sides, your D6, your D10s, your D8s, your D20s, your D100s. Absolutely tons of them. That's kind of having the fun, having a little bag of like funny shaped dice that kind of separates RPGs and that sort of thing out from like Snakes and Ladders and Monopoly. Investigate and explore strange worlds and stories, pulling from popular culture and folklore. Flee iconic slashers, battle aliens, exercise ghosts, and face any horrors you can imagine. So that was a bit that caught my eye. It's taken from popular culture, so any character from a movie. Now, I wonder how they do this. Obviously, for copyright reasons, you can go folklore, so you can go vampires, werewolves, banshees, ghosts, kelpies, you name it. You can have that out there. But when it comes to like slashers, obviously it's up to yourself, but they must have a. We'll dive in and see. Play story set anytime, anywhere, and as anyone. From medieval peasants fighting zombies to 1980s kids and bikes, the choice is yours. So there we go. Already not overwhelming book. Nice, nice thick book. Anyway, and flowers, cage, symbolism. Right. What are they? Obviously, I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'll just glance through. Right. Oh, so it's kind of. So most chapters, there's absolutely ton of chapters in this, but most are like about 1 to 2 pages long, so it's not like a super laborious thing. A forward on fear. Fear is a funny old thing. When I say old, I mean really old. Since the dawn of time, it makes the heart race, the brow sweat, and the mind run away with itself. Imagining what horrors lie in wait, lurking in unknown, lurking in unknown. That should have been that unknown. Naughty. Oh dear. Sorry, grammar plates out now. A primal feeling that runs through every human, desperately trying to keep us alive, causing us to flee, hide, or even fight for our survival. So why now, in our calmer age of existence, do we seek it out? Why do we gather around campfires and tell scary stories, huddle together in the dark to watch horror films and send popcorn flying in fright? Explore the abandoned houses as there's rumors. Explore the abandoned houses as there's rumors are haunted. My answer to you is fear is fun. Well, any fan of horror knows that. Problem is, you reach a certain point where you go past the fear and you're looking for something else. The initial apart from a jump scare now and again, generally it's more the idea, and you kind of take a step back from the initial. But it's still funny watching somebody that doesn't like horror movies watch one for the first time and freak out. You remember that first time you're like, oh. So yeah, it's fun. That's why there's adrenaline junkies and all sorts. There's nothing more universal as an emotion than fear, and though it may seem like a bad thing, it inspires the best in us sometimes. We gather together to feel safe, create scary stories to connect with one another, tell tall tales to entertain and teach, because fear is a universal language that we all speak. Invincible heroes who fear no evil and march into danger can be fun characters. But do we really connect to them, or do we simply admire them? It's in the cowards who run away, the mortals who fight to the last, those who step up even though they're terrified, that we see ourselves. They're the most human, they're us, and they are afraid. So gather your friends in the dark, face your fears, and have some fun. Charlie Menzies, lead designer. Right, so all about storytelling. So it'll be interesting how there's bound to be scenarios in this as well. Start you off using these things. The image ever to have fun with your friends, explore, create compelling horror stories. In Shiver, each player creates their own character, teams up with other players to rally against the dark forces at work in the stories you choose to pursue. They can fight terrifying monsters, discover dark secrets, solve puzzles, and talk to other people in the world of the game. Player characters don't have to be anything well like the people who are playing. Well, that's a given with role-playing games. The whole point is to not be yourself, to step out of yourself and into the world of the imaginary. That's half the fun. Unfortunately, there's an element now is crept in, like you have to be the thing to play the thing. You're like, really? Let's pretend. That's the whole point of pretend. Is also, if you're playing somebody who's not you, then you get an appreciation for that person and where they're coming from. So does that not help to bridge gaps? Just me being silly. Best way to think of Shiver is like playing out one of your favorite horror movies. Movie starts, character introduced, bonds are formed, and a mystery or threat is presented. Characters rally together. So pretty standard when you think about it. One player takes on the role of the director. So that's like the Army of Darkness game. We shared the links on Evil Live's Adam's channel, Evil Live. We're playing that soon again, the final installment of that. So yeah, check out the channel. I've shared links to it previously. We've done 2 sessions of that so far, and honestly, I was in another game. Was like, how do I play this? And then when you get into it, you know, wee bit of a stutter at the start, and then once everybody kind of gets into the whole idea, boom, you just love it. There's no winning or losing in Shiver. Well, that's like any role playing game. Anyone who thinks it's about beating other players or beating the games master or the games master beating the players is a fool, because you don't enjoy yourself when it's like that. When it's the I must win. Only the story and how that goes up to you. You may weave a thrilling, scary story with your friends. Sometimes you may all survive and defeat the evil that's been plaguing the town. Other times you may all be killed. And the story resolves in a much grimmer fashion. Well, Call of Cthulhu's like that. Seen first game played here with Call of Cthulhu. In fact, my solo game I got wiped out. It's just part of it. Never played a role playing game. You wonder what it's all about. I've kind of explained that. Plenty of content, so check it out. Seeing players describe how they wish to proceed. Now, the core skills. This is where right now the symbol makes sense. So that symbol on the inside, that's all those. That's quite clever, actually. Grit. Lifting heavy objects, punching, running, and climbing. Strength. Wit. Picking locks, sneaking and stealth, sleight of hand, throwing objects, firearm proficiency. This is a measure of mental and physical agility, so that's your dexterity. Smarts. Obtaining knowledge from your surroundings, improvising weapons, tools, using computers and tech. Actions that require to use your brain and your intelligence. Heart. Persuasion, deception, performance. Any action that requires pure charisma. Well, it just said itself, it's charisma. So whether that be a life of your teeth, charm, luck determines how naturally lucky you are. Adrenaline boost to all actions. That's your luck rolls. You've seen that played out in Call of Cthulhu. Strange. The use of magic, psychic powers, and other unnatural abilities. It also determines how resistant to things that may cause others to run away in fear. Dangerous but very powerful. So that's a combination of magic user and your constitution. Rolling dice, right. Shiver uses 2 dice types. Yeah, I thought it said it didn't. Okay, so we're back to dice. It makes sense. Any role-playing game's all about rolling dice. In fact, rolling dice is half the fun, because it's that element of chance. Even if you're poor at something, you can still have a crack, and it might succeed. Yesterday's game's a perfect example with Chris. What did he... He went the roll for intelligence. He got a major success. No, but not intelligence. One of the lesser skills, but he got it. It worked. So I was able to give him a bit more of the plot because he rolled so well, especially against the odds. When a character does that, you reward them. That's kind of the way it works. He also rolled terribly for something, and of course you know what I mean. You make a bit of a laugh out of it. But it's not about admonishing people. It's about building the story, and then we'll laugh at the characters' plight, and then work for it from there. So anyway, the skill die is a 6-sided dice. Right, each face has a different symbol on it, representing one of Shiver's 6 core skills. Oh. That's a bit weird. Right. So what they have done is these things, each of those symbols is a side of a dice rather than an actual 6-sided dice. So for example, playing this online might be a bit of a challenge. Obviously, we could, roll a use a 6-sided dice, just interlay each of the skills and go from there. The talent die. The talent die is an 8-sided die, but unlike the skill die, it only uses 2 different symbols. Talent symbols are represented by a 5-pointed star. Bottom right, okay. Talent symbols count as any core skill other than strange, career successes, blah, blah, blah. There's also strange symbols which count as successes when rolling your strange pool. Some faces of the talent die have multiple of the same symbol on one face. In total, there are 2 double talent, single strange, and 1 double strange. Right. Okay, then. This is where things get a bit. So, do you have to buy these special dice separately, or is there a template in here where you cut them out? Oh, right. Looks like there's. Yeah, right. That's thrown me a bit. I'll not lie. Because if you're, let's be honest, if you are trying to introduce somebody to this, and most people play now online, it's difficult enough to get players online, but it's really hard to find people in your local area. Not only are in the role playing games, but maybe want to play a new game. A lot of people are locked into the game to play, and it's a big thing. Sometimes they ask someone to try something new. So I'm not too sure how these dice work out. Carries won't take an action. The director may ask them to make a skill check. This result which will determine how successful a character is in action. Each skill has a core skill, blah, blah, blah. For example, character's path is blocked by a heavy object and want to lift out of the way. The director must decide which core skill would be used for this. Example, physical strength is required. Director will set grit as a core skill. Some objects are heavier than others. Right, you've now got a challenge rating, goes 1 to 5. Not to say this game is easy, right? Here's the thing: when the mechanics get a bit completely, I know people want to make something unique, but when the game mechanics are using unique dice with their own symbols, that's going to be tricky to translate. Also, yeah, that's going to take a wee bit of reading. One director has set the core skill. The number and specific types of dice roll on a skill is referred to as a dice pool. Could put together. See how many core skill points your character chosen core skill. Talent points. Danny dice, right. Fear status. Failing a skill check. Right, we have developed our very own dice rolling tool, which you can use to track the different dice pools. Fear, luck. Blows the link to give it a try. Okay, right. Let's see how this works out. Mightn't be as bad then. WW. Oh shit, where'd it go? Shiver RPG. Shiver RPG.com/dice dash ruler. Oh, it's not like that. Right, there's an error with that. Let's try and find. Okay, we're not looking at that. Let's do a Google search. RPG dice. Dice roller. It's an app. Oh, there's one on Roll20. Oh, it's on YouTube. Right, so obviously the parallel games are... That's weird. Right, this is automatically become a bit of a ballsache. That should have been easy. So the Shiver RPG.com site has got an invalid certificate. Right, why is it just showing YouTube? Sorry, going off on a wee bit of a tangent here. Just right, it's offering a dice pack, but I don't want to. You know, what's the point in buying a set of physical dice? Yeah, they might be nice to have and a bit of fun. Oh, hey Chris. So basically, I've got this. It's a new role playing game, Shiver. It's a horror based one. I'm just looking at the mechanics of it, and already we've had a snag because rather than using, it's saying it's based on a D6 and a D8, but each has its own face. Now, give me a link here. Saying it has an online dice roller. I've just typed it in and things broken. Now, I've went to look for this dice roller, and yeah, I'm seeing like physical dice now. They look all right. They look about hang on. You know, they look all right. But at the same time, I don't want to buy physical dice. I want to see if there's an actual online dice roller. Now, I'm seeing a lot of YouTube videos here when I look it up. Parallel games. Shiver patrons. Shiver dice pack. Well, you know, there's reviews. No, right. So, yeah, it's pushing it. But basically, when I put in the website. Oh, right. Hang on. So when I actually go to, it says it provides an online dice roller. This is what you get, saying it's broken. So I don't like that. What I'll do is I'll look into this and we'll see. This could actually put me off playing. Something that simple. The fact that this has become a hassle will put me off actually trying to play this game. You know, that's just me. Does it come with a dagger-proof chest protector? I don't know. It needs to come with dice, first of all, or an easy way to... It actually states... Now, here's trade description next. Easy and quick to learn rules, which you can pick up and play straight away. Everything you need in one book to both play and host a game. Oh, that must be the symbolic dice system that avoids numbers, puts story first, and provides a variety of way for your tales to evolve. I'm going to have to look into that more and maybe test it out. I wouldn't be happy running a game cold with this and getting a bunch of people together and then it turned out to be not very good. No, in the end of the day, you've got a duty. If you run the game, you've got a duty to at least try even with a new game, they make it fun for your players, because what's the point otherwise? Oh god, right. Right, so they've got conversion tables. Right, so at least they've done that. So there's a conversion detail table for the D6 and the D8. So that's not too bad. Still, I'm a bit annoyed with that online dice roller. That would have been, you know what I mean? Maybe you want people to be able to play it. I saw one of the YouTube videos on how to incorporate into D20, so Roll20, sorry. So I'll have a look at that. We'll see how that works out. So combined skill check, that'll need to take a wee bit of reading just to get my head around it. Obviously, I'll not just read it out here. I'll just say opposed skill check. So that's you versus an NPC, an opponent. That's pretty standard with any game. Assisting skill checks. All right. So if you're a teamwork, so this is similar to Dungeons and Dragons, then, where it's a team based. You know, people can complement each other. And add to the dice roll. So we'll see how that works out. Oh, right. If a player offers some small element of assistance, like a leg up to get over a tall fence, they could roll a single skill die to assist. So I need to figure out if you're rolling a skill die and it requires something but you don't get that. Yeah, how does that? Seems a bit weird. Just a 1 in 6 chance to succeed or fail. And what happens if you get something else? Don't know. Need to have a look at that. Lifeline, wound, speed, size. So this is all the armor, survivor mode, nightmare mode. Oh, right. So what it's doing here is breaking down. So when you don't just lose hit points, weakened, limping, trauma, dead. So that's pretty decent. I'll give it that. Because normally it's hard to reflect. You know yourself, you basically run out of hit points until you're finished. So at least this is saying when you start off with your 16, you lose them, and then that reflects how your character can interact. That's something normally, like if a player, the runner of the game decides to, gloss over the fact that somebody's like was a moment from death and then they've been healed and they're straight back up again, with a few hit points. As long as they're up and walking, they seem to be okay. So it's kind of reflecting that. So that would make sense, especially if you're like trying to get away from the killer. Um, if you're limping, then obviously that's not going to work out for you. They've got fear in it. I've literally just opened the book. I'm on page 16. Just having a glance at it. Speed, luck bank, flaws, armor, fear and fear status. You're stable, afraid, or terrified. So obviously your fear status then might be similar to your sanity. Oh, and there's a character sheet. Balance of things. So you can kind of see there. Quite a bit on it. So yeah, so you score out your lifeline. So that's I suppose that's not too bad. I'll need to see if this is available in like Roll20, if we've got a module on it. Maybe have a look into it. When a player rolls their dice pool, there's always a chance of failure, and a Shiver failure can have dark consequences. Anytime your characters engage in moving the story forward, they have a chance to improve the situation for them and their allies. Excuse me. However, things won't always go to plan, and your failed actions might make things worse. worse. This is where what the doom clock represents. All right, so effectively someone something. So what I need to figure out then is how you pass or fail dice rolls. That's a bit where the symbols kind of do. You know yourself. You either get above or below a figure, and that's how you pass. But with this symbolic system, a 1 in 6 chance or a 1 in 8 chance seems a wee bit unfair. So that's what I'll need to read into: how to pass and fail dice rolls. Get that figured out, and if it's easy, then cool. And then if you fail, you're advancing the doom clock. And when it basically hits midnight, you're basically in trouble. But you can turn it back. All right then. Hands enough combat. Quite a bit on this. Right. So obviously, combat is pretty straightforward. Just depending on the mechanics of the system. You fight another character, you win or lose. The sequel death. Oh, here's an interesting one. So death, player character dies very early on in the game. Director to have a reserve character that the player can step into. May be a good idea for a player to come up with a backup as well. That's standard around any role-playing game. You just, expect to die. You can have someone to pick up so you can crack on. Or kind of end that adventure and then take it from there. Haunting. If a character dies, they can remain in the game as a ghost. They may not be able to be seen by all of any of the characters, but they can still help. Antagonistic play. Player dies in a unique way, such as being bitten by a vampire, zombie, or werewolf. The director can encourage them to come back as an enemy that they control. That's an interesting one. Yeah, it seems to be quite new because it wasn't available when I first looked at it, and then I ordered it when it did. I think it only came out not this month, but last month, the month before. It's only been out not that long. Resurrection. Right. So, Resurrection. So we bit of Pet Cemetery stuff there. They'll come back, but they can't come back to see him. So that'll be interesting. So, yeah, it's got an interesting premise. It's the mechanics. That's the only bit I'm stuck on here because the dice. Well, not stuck. Just need to read up. Right, building a character. You've got architect. So the warrior, the maverick, the scholar, the socialite, the fool, the weird, the survivor. And obviously, well, that's like picking your class, your creature class, or that's like picking your creature class or your investigator type, or anything. It's like any RPG. So you have archetype characters, and then you pick it, and then each archetype has its abilities and flaws and strengths and weaknesses, and then obviously the idea is to build up a team, not just all the same people to complement each other. Oh, hey Adam, I played a game, a one shot to get the vibe. Yeah, it's going to take a wee bit of reading just to just get my head around the mechanics, I think. And also, like, to translate, it's the dice is the big thing. Just translating the dice so a player, first of all, players understand it, but also players don't feel cheated by not getting the symbols. That's kind of the challenge here, I think, to make this more readily available. Yeah, it'd be easy to buy a set of dice if you're playing in a room and have a load with this game and that people use them, but online's a wee bit trickier. So that's a bit I need to figure out. Because you want the spirit of the game too. There's no point getting a different RPG with a different you can set up that rule. Can you set it up with? That's what it was. Before you come on there, I was talking with Chris about. Maybe Rule 20 has a mechanism if Shiver hasn't, built the game, but if there's a way to do it, Yeah, that'd be interesting. So if that's possible and it's easy to do and it's fun for the players to do, cool. I'm happy with that. Like I said, it's only a niggly point. If that's a really easy hurdle to get over, job done. Protector path, meat shield. That's your tank. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much. It's going the same as most RPGs. Like I said, you've got your character types, and then it's up to you what you want to be. And then right, so let's just spend a wee bit of time right going into each one. Oh, and each character has a tree, so you can be a maverick, but the type of maverick you can be, or the type of warrior you can be. So that's a wee bit interesting. So there's a wee bit more depth in this. Scholar, yeah. Oh, right, okay. So the core skill changes with um the type of character. So the symbols then represent something different. So you're kind of flicking back and forward through this book. So for each of the characters. Right through. Okay, I'll. Yeah, so that's cool enough. A digital version then can share with folks. Like they did say in the book there was the Shiver site had its own dice roller. I went to look it up on the website. Their page is broken, so I might actually send them an email, just make them aware of that. Scholar tree, academic hit. Right. This is socialite. So there's a lot to play with here with the characters. I'll say that. Um, I was just talking. Actually, I was talking about your game, the Army of Darkness. We're playing the final session soon. That was similar. Completely different focus than the usual. It just took a wee minute to get into, but once we did, we're all on board and loving it. I think that's going to be the same. You've definitely a lot more to play with the characters. So yeah, the sessions actually the session zero here. But the thing is, you would need all the players to read the rulebook. That's what I'm not like. It says everything you need in the rulebook, but you'd have to sit down and go through it. So I need to find an easy way for people to look at this. I'm just saying translate. Like this is obviously physical book, tabletop, people around you. Fair enough. It's the translating in the online and just making sure that people get the full experience. So there's quite a bit of reading up. So I would need to summarize the types of characters, and then whoever thinks, oh, I fancy having a go at that, you go to a particular character, and then you have the further conversation about the types. Because, like I said, there's like even the full last chance or accumulator blade. No, I mean even the full type character. There's a whole plethora here. The weird. So that's like the spiritus, the Eldritch Path, blood magic, astral form. So that's your magician, your magic user in the group. God, there's actually quite a bit. Right, so the weird is actually quite an extensive section of this book. God, there's tons. So where am I? 76 pages in, and what we had about 30 pages of characters here. Flip. So there's no shortage of ideas for a character. So that's quite interesting. So with this, you're not just turning up, putting together a character sheet, and playing in. You're building a fully formed character. This is definitely narrative based. Yeah, I want to get him on our call because obviously, when we finish this campaign with Chris, and then the idea is to try and bring him in to another game and bring your guys back in different formats, maybe coming at the the main story from a different angle, and have a go that way. So yeah, I've definitely looking to do one, but 2 weeks time we're doing the third session, but should be the final one for this adventure. Then we'll plan and take it from there. So what are we talking about? We're probably talking about June, realistically, before getting the game setting up. Yeah, I think we're realistically talking about June for the next Call of Cthulhu game. In the meantime, that'll give me a chance to read over this properly. But yeah, your character creation here, that's a major part. I haven't even got to the gameplay yet or scenario. All the different types of characters here. Scholar backgrounds, flipping. Oh, right now we're going into the backgrounds of each of the archetypes. Absolute ton of stuff here, so you can really go all out with your character. Have a fully fleshed out character, backstory, trauma, focus. Hold on here. Yeah, I saw his unboxing for that there. Yeah, that intrigued me as well. That's um that's why I asked the question about why are people so loyal to one system when role playing has expanded so much and you're not taken away. If you primarily play one system, you're not betraying that system by trying another game. That's kind of my whole point. And in fact, you enhance. If you try something, you can maybe bring some of that to the table in your main system that you play. Or if you see something that doesn't work, then it makes you appreciate what you have. I don't get this just one stop shop, play one game. That's the whole point of the role playing tabletop is you get all these weird and wonderful games, and they have a different focus, and you get to stretch yourself a bit. Like already, this is pretty involved for character creation. This is almost Vampire Masquerade. Well, we're dealing with anything is possible. Anything's possible. That's what we'll need to let's get this adventure done first. How about that? Do me a favor and try and survive this adventure, and don't get yourself wiped out. If you can do that for me, then we can play on. You have to get off the island first. If you can manage that for me, really appreciate it, Chris. Then we can maybe plan out how to do that. They cut that scene out. I want to. I think flipping Netflix or something cut that scene out. The bastards. And it's like that was one of the funniest scenes, and what's made it. Ghostbusters is a unique movie. It wasn't a kids movie. It was a grown-up movie. It was just a combination of things coming together, and it's iconic. But playing that kind of stuff, that the what ifs, but yeah, there's lots of right. The director. So who's the director? So I'm only in. What am I? Nearly 100 pages in. I'm only in chapter 3. So all them, remember saying all them small chapters at the start. That was all the characters, but yeah, there's we haven't got the game. So there's 100 pages, 80, 90 odd pages on the characters and the type of character you can have, the type of backstory and their focus and their specializations, and then what that means in the mechanics of the game. So yeah, it says it's straightforward, you can play, but it's quite involved already with that aspect. So I think the session 0 seems to be that's the most important one. definitely with this game, and getting your character fleshed out, and then the actual gameplay is what you do with that. Director creates the games, storyteller, actor, NPC. Yep. You arbiter, player. Yep. Remember, although you're directing a game of Shiver, that doesn't mean you aren't playing. The experience should be equally as enjoyable for the directors as for the players. I've said this 100 times with RPGs. It's not about trying to beat the games master, and the games master not trying to beat the players. It's a collaborative thing. And I know when you get excited, it's easy to get maybe a wee bit combative and you're trying to push a point, but always remember when you're playing this game, any game, role playing game, the point's to have fun and for everybody. And if you're so focused on winning or succeeding that you're actually putting other people off, they don't want to play with you. And if you are running a game and you're so desperate on them not getting through your end level or making it so hard, nobody's going to want to play your games. You know, it's a bit of give and take. That's funny. Nerds have always kind of known this. It's funny how the preachers, let's just call them, the whatever banner they might come under, have decided to stick the roar in the nerd culture. But we know that if you arse about, if you make things unpleasant, nobody's going to play with you. You know, so you have to give and take. You have to be accommodating. And even if you have a whole plethora of issues, which, you know, people do, everyone's got their own things, but you kind of have to put that aside a bit and step up if you want to interact. This is the ultimate in interaction. You know, you're putting yourself as a character. It's not just going around the board or anything. You can fall out and storm it. You know, I mean, you get really deeply involved, and everyone in the chat can tell you, you get involved with your character, you get involved with the story, you'll talk about it weeks later, something will crop up. Oh, remember this happened, but blah blah blah. You're like, yeah, you know, it's a unique thing. But nerds have always known you have to give and take. This doesn't work otherwise. If you don't, if you're not reasonable, then it just doesn't happen. Right. So now we're going on to building the story part. Scale play length or one shot. Right. So that's cool. You should keep your settings small and claustrophobic. Limit the chance for players to jump out into the wider world. Right, makes sense. That's like anyone. You have to kind of control the universe because if you don't, you end up going off on 100 tangents. Setting the scene. Now we have the world. How about core conflict? Right. Mapping out. Oh, so it's done in X. Character setting world, core conflict, low threat, sample. Right. Act 2. So this is going like that's going like a film. Ramping up the action. So Act 3, the final showdown, and then the sequel. So that's cool. You start off with something. It's like any game. You start off with a core adventure, a playable adventure, and then it can just, like we've just talked about it in this stream, about another, like 2 games that one we've played in the past, one we're currently playing. We've tied them in slightly so they're related, and technically both characters, you know, in the first one are dead. The one still languishing, you know, in an asylum, so can still be playable. The world's your oyster, but you gotta start that small thing to set the scene and get your characters involved, and then a reason for them to come together. Managing difficulty, creating a sanctuary. That makes sense actually. So you always have to have that place where you can go and recruit and heal, and not be in immediate danger. Map. Oh, right. So we've got environments and maps. So we've got grid-based, concept-based maps. So once again, it depends what type of game. It seems to be quite open. It could be a D&D type scenario where you're physically moving the characters up the conflict, or it could be more like Call of Cthulhu where you don't necessarily have to. So you can kind of play about with that. So that's cool. It's leaving it open. So I think basically what it's saying here, saying playing with miniatures, is pick, be consistent. Pick what method you're going to use. Be clear about it. Tie it into the adventure and stick with it. And it doesn't mean if you play one, even though the same characters, like one adventure could be grid, movement based. The other could be concept. That's that's all cool too. Right. So part 2, the rules. So finally we get to talk about the dice. Oh, right. So reading the knuckle bones, yeah. So it's kind of doing it in that sort of like fortune telling. So that's a bit I need to read and 2 more. Yep, free flow, maintaining the mystery. And then this whole thing with the doom clock seems to be quite good. So you fail so many times and you're summoning something that's coming after you. I actually like that. Because once again, it's putting consequence to the actions. It's the same as the character sheet that your injuries actually have a physical impact on you. So if you only, some games, like I said, you can heal 2 hit points and you're straight up and fighting again. This isn't letting you do that. You heal 2 hit points and you're walking wounded. You're not able to do anything. So it's interesting. So it's playing with human characters. Let's put it like this. It's playing with human characters. Some have special abilities, but at the same time, you get hit. Right, designing doom events. Okay, right, that's it. Handling death. Kind of touching that. Part 3, the toolbox. Building weapons. Oh, so this is all about building weapons. Okay. Right, so we have a whole section here on weapons and what weapons you have. Unique ability. Oh, right. So, yeah, they've translated this again for when you're rolling for weapons. So, once again, these symbols translate into an action. All right, then. And, right, okay, so give them a bionic arm. Book of Banishment. Chainsaw, drill, cudgel, loads of stuff. Yeah, there's quite a bit in here, right? Going to range weapons. So that's all about. Yeah, that's all about weapons. So there's tons of stuff about weapons. No, it can be either. It says it can be medieval, it can be current day, it can be futuristic. It's kind of represented there by the 3 characters. So you set whenever. So it could be the whole point is that it's you could follow the beats of a horror movie. I think that's what it's telling you. You can follow the beats of a horror movie and have the characters go into that universe. It's obviously not telling you strictly here because of copyright. Said obviously before you jumped in the chat. The thing is with Call of Cthulhu as well, yeah, it's initially the main game set in the 1920s, but there's medieval, there's Victorian settings, there's current day, there's loads of adventures. There's a whole expanded universe with Call of Cthulhu as well. So yeah, the main game, but there's other expansion packs out there that translate into a modern setting. You're not. I think the games are quite. The games are quite clever that they don't box themselves in. They always give people options. So not everybody might be happy playing in the 1920s, but they like the idea. So they want to play a modern setting. It is available, and I might explore that at some point. But at the moment, just to get I need a core group of players, people that will turn up on a regular basis and try new things. Obviously got you guys, and it's fantastic. But I need that, and then I can start looking into okay, what do we do next? I only started this a few months ago. Actually run the channel, so we're doing quite well so far. I have to say, quite happy. Right, these are all just Sorcerer's Skull Candle. A sputtering candle set inside a screeching skull flickers as it conjures dark magic. Okay. Someone's got to have that. You just get it and throw it. It goes, "Wah!" Boom. Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's taken a note from the movie, horror movies and horror stories, and it's up to you what setting you want it to be in. I just think they can't say Nightmare of Elm Street. They can't say Friday the 13th. There was a cheeky little Jason-esque type picture in this, but obviously copyright. They can't go too in depth, which is fair enough. But it's open, right? Okay. God, there's shitloads of stuff and weapons. Grappling hooks, so you could be in a Gotham City type environment. Voodoo doll, right? Challenge rating, DEFCON level, and enemy reactions. Freddy Krieger. Yeah. Names have been changed to save us from the lawyers. Haha. Right, enemy reactions. This is right. Agile, intelligent. Right. God, there's absolutely tons of stuff here with the enemies now as well. The abilities, right. So you're going to be flicking a lot through this when rolling the dice, because you have to go to the specific. Should it be a character, or should it be combat? Should it be the enemy? You have to kind of flick to the enemies or have a cheat sheet. I think, yeah, I think a cheat sheet's going to be needed for this to basically say what the enemy does and what the dice mean. This is not Groot. Oh, what was it? Austin Powers, wasn't it? They had that scene was like, it's Godzilla. No, it's not Godzilla, because we could be sued, but it's something that's definitely not Godzilla, but looks like Godzilla. I think that's the way to do this. I wonder if you have to. Would it be fun playing the game like that, where you don't, you know what I mean? It's Oak Street or Oak Lane, and yeah, like I said, Freddy Krieger. Would that be too campy? I suppose it depends what you want to do. Do you want a campy game or a serious horror game? This is kind of left open. I think it's not. Um, Once again, because horror is such a wide ranging genre and includes so many subgenres, um, it's not really defining here what the actual tone of the game is. That's up to you. So if you want to do a horror comedy, do it. If you want to do supernatural horror, do it. If you want it to be brooding, dark, eldritch, do that too. So I've noticed I've kind of left that open. So this is quite cool. Dark magic with a K. Dark magic. I hate that spelling. Shit. Eldritch entities. Funny enough, just mentioned that. Spirits. Right. So now we've got another like 15 pages and all the types of yeah, it's all down to the players. Once again, it's up to what type of game do people want to play. If people want to just go wacky doodle crazy and just have a bit of fun and laugh, sweet. If people want to actually solve a horror mystery, then that's cool too. If somebody wants to actually be a vampire hunter and their life in peril, yeah, build it in. So there's a lot more of these books starting to appear that like core systems, but aren't tying down the universes, so you don't get trapped up in the lore, because that's where some Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, both actually Age of Sigmar not too much. The original Warhammer Fantasy, what we're seeing now, but 40k definitely suffers from problems with the lore. I think 10th edition's is coming out, and they're trying to fix that because there's no linear timeline now, obviously explained because of the warp and the way the warp works. But because it's lore based, and that many people have got involved in it, it's tripping over itself now at this point, 30 years down the line. So I think these modern RPGs that are coming out have seen those pitfalls and are trying to sort of circumvent that it's not open. So it's each one's its own contained adventure. There's not an overarching lore, and it's just a mechanic to try and have a bit of a fun time playing the game. Right, we're nearly at the end of the book. The Z virus. Any other letters of the alphabet that's had a virus that causes things to happen? Yes, we know what that's about. Oh. Familiar? Obviously the patterns have changed. Cargo walker, yes. I've heard that called something else. So yeah, we're definitely like taking it right up the line here with the old potential lawsuits, aren't we? Fun times, love it. Corporate risers. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Night of the Living Dead by George A. Romero. Right. The director, when it comes to the story, holds all the cards. They fully aware the full horrors with the players. Cornwell Consolidate in its infinite wisdom has been conducting illicit experiments on unknown species, in this case an ancient undead beast. Now, oh, hold on. Is this a... Oh, right. I'm going to stop there. Right, this is a scenario. So I'm going to shut up. Yep. So we have a scenario here. It's all kind of laid out. We've got enemies. We've got maps. Status effects, right. And then we've got, right, now we're doing the glossary and the index. Right, okay. So the scenario in this is actually quite short, but it's not a like paint by numbers scenario. It's giving you up, but it's up to you. And then once again, I think, right, from what I've seen, like, nice book. And honestly, I know I'm only flicking through it. Flippers an hour. God, I do waffle on, don't I? Flip. Right, okay. So that's just a quick cursory glance and me yapping about it. A full read through. If nothing else, this is it's an interesting book with ideas. I'll say that. And this could be like any modern storytelling outside of pure fantasy, I would say. So anything that's set real world throughout the ages. There's actually some, especially the characters, the character section of this, I think that's one of the most the only thing I've seen that's been as in-depth is Vampire the Masquerade, but then each character class has its own codex. So if you wanted to be a Ventru, an Asimite, God, I forget all the rest of them. But if you want to know what type of vampire you are, you had it. So you bought that codex for that class, and it went into the whole history. But it's done this in one book, which is quite cool. So if nothing else, even if you don't play this particular game, the character architects alone, like if you're new to role playing, or if you're stuck for ideas and characters, God, and that's just me thinking, there's tons, absolutely tons of stuff in this to build a well balanced character. And I mean with backstory, flaws, strengths, not just your physical, not just your character sheet. I think that's when you want to get a bit more involved with the role playing side of things. Your character sheet's just what you roll and go through the mechanics. But what's your character's motivation? What's the reason to be in? Yeah, there's absolutely ton. Like I can understand why they've went so deep with each type. So you don't just be a reporter. You kind of delve into what a reporter fit in, but then you look at what the type. You can be different types of reporter under that category. So there you go. There is that. I've put a link in the description for it, and Adam's put another one in the chat. So I put a link in the description for the physical copy. Adam put one in the chat there for the drive-through. What I'll do, actually, Adam, if you email me that, I'll pop it in the comments as well, and then you have the option to check it out. Well worth it. I'm looking forward to getting more into it. Like I said, this is just a glance through and just a talking while I'm going through it, seeing it for the first time. I'm very interested. Once I understand the dice and a nice simplified mechanic that it's not cumbersome, I'm down for creating a game for it anyway. Hopefully some folks in the chat, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, might want to join me. So there you go. Oh, thanks. Yeah, don't forget to do the typey clicky things, of course. Clicking the like button and all that stuff and sharing it and leaving comments. It all helps this channel get out there. I want to reach more horror fans. I want to create more horror fans. I want to explore every aspect of horror out there. That's the whole purpose of this channel. I want to support horror creators and just use this as a useful tool, as well as me getting the chance to talk into the camera and go blah blah blah, which is fun. and showing off my nerdy stuff that I just buy because I've always done stuff like that. But it's nice to actually discuss something and then find other fans of it and make connections and then go for there. So there you go, folks. I will wrap this up here. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, Chris and Adam in the chat, and thanks to Facebook, whoever sent the likes on Facebook. I see it's coming back online again. It was really playing up there for a bit, so good to see the old Facebook back up online again, as well as YouTube. So there you go, folks. Keep up to date with the channel. Planning to get on this weekend as well. I have another interview coming up, and I'll try and watch a movie. I've got a long weekend, so I've got plenty of movie watching to do. So I'll probably get a couple of reviews up as well. So there you go. Thanks again. And until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.